After the crucifixion and the death of Jesus, and after Peter, the other 11 apostles, and more than 500 followers of Christ reportedly witnessed the resurrected Jesus, Peter became the foremost Christian leader of his time. Decades after the resurrection of Jesus, Peter traveled to Rome to spread the gospel to a large Jewish and Gentile population, to support persecuted and endangered Christians, and provide apostolic authority to those in Rome. Under Emperor Nero's reign, Christians were scapegoats, being blamed for the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. Christians were often executed, being burned in the streets, crucified, and other public spectacles. As a leader of the church, Peter's preaching and authority made him a target. He was executed by crucifixion. It's credible tradition, asserted by Origen's commentary on Matthew in the 3rd century, that Peter requested to be crucified upside down, feeling unworthy to be killed in the same way that Jesus was. The upside-down cross, often mistakenly being used today as a sign of anti-Christian or satanic imagery, originally symbolized Peter in his martyrdom. This symbol, reflecting his violent death, represents what Peter witnessed and was willing to die for: the risen Lord. In Hazbin Hotel, he's whitey white guy. Chill, dude. Hella white. Agartha's this way, pal. He acts like this because heaven's for nice people, and he's nice. Puppies and ice cream, and yeah, that's that's being nice. He was a Middle Eastern Jew. He wasn't this. Ugh. He hurts to look at. Vivzi decided depicting the Trinitarian Christian God in her show was even too insane for her, so no Jesus in the Helluverse. Thankfully, I really didn't want to see that. Wait, so no Jesus, but Peter? Whatever, it's clearly taking certain aspects from Christianity and the Abrahamic religions while generally depicting a kind of non-biblical cartoon Golden Gate style of heaven and a cartoon evil Red Devil type of hell. So some guy is named Peter and he's guarding the Golden Gates like Santa Claus with his naughty and nice list, just not the historic Peter. Well, I know this isn't a Catholic church. Okay, so Christians exist in this world. So there was a historical Jesus, a Jesus who claimed to be the Son of God and the sole path to eternal life, and was killed for blasphemy and tortured by Romans, but I guess he was just lying. But his disciple Peter gets given the keys to heaven anyway by these random non-Christian angels and whatever the speaker of God is, whose rules to get into heaven isn't like putting your faith in God or Christ or whatever. It's just being a good guy, and they don't exactly know how that one works yet. Did they just feel bad for Peter? Like, they were too upset at the scenario where Peter gets martyred just to find out that Jesus was just some dude?
Oh, great scary angel on the wall. I'm Catholic or something.
Catholicism exists too? So Peter, the first pope, a line of holy fathers, vicars of Christ that stretch down throughout history till today, is given immeasurable authority in heaven, completely separated by the Trinitarian Abrahamic Christian God. And there's cross imagery literally everywhere. Vivzi, please don't put Jesus in your show. I'm begging you. Hazbin, the Helluverse, Vivzi, whatever, is just begging for this level of scrutiny. I'm not one for nitpicking stories. When plot holes are like really distracting, then I can notice that, but tiny, small coincidences, nonsensical moments, they typically don't grab my attention. I think overanalyzing stupid tiny things is stupid. Looking at things that granular is just unnecessary. But when you have a show or universe that's main purpose is to be loud, unabashed, and shameless, whose humor is often aching to sit through, and whose vulgarity only serves to punish people with an inkling of annoyance or fatigue towards inappropriate equals funny, whose story feels like one person smashing together her OC action figures and then making them kiss, who's willing to sideline main characters and change the direction of her show on a dime, who, even if you aren't personally offended by it, is pretty objectively offensive to Abrahamic religions. That is a show that's begging to be picked apart. A show that has no humility, no reservations, no compromises. A show that is run by a person completely uninterested with shifting the show from something she wants to something objectively better. I don't dislike Vivzi. She seems really passionate and nice, And I feel bad about all the stupid things that people throw at her as genuine arguments just because I guess they think she's annoying or whatever. I don't dislike the people who like the show. It's got genuine greatness that I'll be sure to talk about. I don't think you're a bad person for liking the show, and I definitely don't support any hate or harassment to anyone who likes or works on the show. I don't even have this deep resentment for the show like it might sound. I enjoy watching episode to episode. Not always for the reason the show wants, but I'm not clutching my pearls and covering my eyes second to second, scoffing at every scene. A show that simply exists to do unabashed thing after unabashed thing, with no nuance or restraint, is simply going to have to prove itself more than a show with visible heart. Like, what do I learn from these shows? What's the moral here? These shows are not nourishing to my soul, they don't even break even. I click on an episode and I feel like it's trying to atomize me. For a show about redemption, it spends frighteningly little time about what it means to improve or be a better person. Just stop actively killing yourself with drugs and develop friendships. Oh, and you know that pesky addiction? Yeah, just drink more moderately. What this show is offering me, I'm not receptive to. Although I'll be sure to talk about the things that I genuinely really like about these shows, I'm here to talk about the very unnuanced, obvious, glaring, and distracting problems with both of these shows. Because I'm an idiot. I don't pick up on small pacing issues or story structure or whatever that nerd stuff is. The things I notice are so glaring because the show is so proud of showing it off. Things I think are funny to talk about just by the nature of their existence. Why do I have this attitude? Well, it's because Vivzi Pop is pretty clear about her intentions with the show. I don't know a lot about Vivzi's past or how this show came to be, but I know the aesthetic, the Vivzi Pop style, if you will. I know the hints of Hazbin and that they've been there since the beginning. My point is that Vivzi has always been similar, like the type of show she wants to make, what she finds funny or interesting, what she wants to do. When you envision something and you fight for it, you put so much effort in, an idea that's been evolved for years and years, you become much more attached to it than a seasoned showrunner asked to pitch a new random idea. I don't like to make sweeping statements about people's intentions. It's kind of impossible, and genuinely, what do I know? But I think this passion for the show from Vivzi shines through, especially in season 2, and leads to very unnatural storytelling in a lot of areas, which I can only assume is sparked by her personal interests and wants. There are like a trillion Vivzi hates criticism videos on the internet, and I'm not trying to be one of them. Simply put, any criticism or change in direction that she's actually internalizing is from her own team or circle, not people who, although might be raising genuine, real criticism, just aren't the target demographic. Vivzi just wants to take these shows in a certain direction, for better or for worse. It's her shows after all. But I think when her shows start crisscrossing on what they want to do between or even during seasons, it's very obvious and just jumbles the story. Okay, so we've prefaced that Vivzi is very much a take it and run with it creator. She knows what she wants to do, she has very strong preferences, and she, well, made very two successful shows out of it. Now, a show jarringly changing what it wants to do is certainly an issue, but it's not a begging for scrutiny issue. I use that maybe rather extreme phrase because the show just has such an entry barrier. The most infamous part about her shows, the humor and aesthetic, are rough for me. And trust me, I understand it's just not for you. I get that, but sometimes I feel like I'm actively being punished for having quite normal tolerance and preferences. The show really wants you to think swearing and talking about sex is really funny.
I love to suck.
I swear to if you say
Popsicles, you sicko! Get your mind out of the gutter.
And it's not. I try to keep the doc channel PG-13. Okay, no coarse language, but we get to make a little more mature jokes. Okay, we're big boys, but we like to keep it classy. The show really wants you to think that being a badass Sigma demon is cool. And it's not. The humor is just so aggressive. Like, sometimes I can't believe how much they double down on the Vivzi humor, especially for two Amazon shows. Inspired by South Park, by the way. Listen, South Park is definitely inappropriate. Maybe I shouldn't be laughing at it, but I do. There's a reason why South Park is in FORTNITE and has been... Wait, this video isn't gonna harp on the comedy because everyone knows about it. It's like the defining aspect of her show. Episode 1 is genuinely the litmus test on if you can survive the comedic tone of the show because it's the perfect representation of the show's humor and I guess the problem with it.
I was playing this gig, and for some reason, this virtue chick was digging on the drummer, and it's like, do you know who I am? I'm Adam. I'm the original. All descend from me. You think you want drummer? No way. I'm the
Quieter!
master. So, anyway, and we
Quieter!
and it was awesome.
If you can survive it, congratulations. You might be mature enough to ride your bike without a helmet. The humor and demon aesthetic is pretty indicative of a lot of the problems I have with the show fundamentally. If edgy and raunchy humor isn't funny, it's just degenerate. If badass scenes aren't cool, they're laughable. You also run into a really big problem of bad people doing bad things and the show trying to make really funny jokes with them. But we'll get to that later. Also, yes, Season 2 is funnier than Season 1.
Quoting everything I'm saying is distracting me. What? Don't compare me to Hitler.
The show isn't interested in rising above literal hell. It likes rolling in the mud. It's like a pig in his stone and wooden architectural nightmare. This is kind of my biggest problem with the show. The show never really sufficiently depicts hell as something not to like. The point of the hotel is not to get to heaven because hell is so bad. It's because they're actively being hunted down like the dodo, which stops being a problem after Season 1. Sure, there's very bad things here, but the show thinks it's either really funny or really cool. No one is really miserable or expresses that they don't like hell. Is this hell or Baltimore? Like, they have a phone. They have phones. They have society. Besides angel dust in Season 1, the show never really takes the time to show why this hellish lifestyle isn't sustainable or good. Is that just me preaching? Being a little religious wuss? Maybe. It's possible my bias affects how I look at the show, but I'm sure you'd better be able to recognize my frustrations by seeing their depiction of heaven. The most 2D, childish, cartoon, comically artificial, whitey white depiction of supposedly eternal paradise. They treat the angels like idiots, like toddlers. They have them go through arcs they should have no business going through. Being kind shouldn't make you blissfully moronic. They should absolutely, positively, no good, very shouldn't think that going to hell with gift baskets and apologizing is a good idea, and you should be put to death for even thinking about that. Abel. I wish Abel didn't exist as a character. I'm genuinely shocked with how much he takes away from the show without adding anything. Both shows clearly show more respect to hell than heaven, at least. Hell feels real, kind of just like a bum city, not really eternal punishment, but a pretty lived-in, real place, especially in Helluva Boss. Heaven feels like a 3-year-old's place I want to go after chewing on the electrical wires. Heaven was pretty rough in the first season as well, mostly because Adam was such a character. Like, you couldn't make a more obnoxious character that's supposed to fill in for the role of literal heaven. And now with Season 2, the well-meaning characters are laughably unintelligent. This vibe that the show gives off kind of just irks me, and I don't think it's solely due to very religious or personal reasons, but the show really just, that thing I said before about the pigs. Like, it needs heaven to be malicious or just genuinely stupid to force conflict. The only time I felt touched by the show, I felt touched by this show before, was Pench's confessing his sin and being comforted by this thing. It felt like a show with a heart, and was the only time I got actual chills while watching it, but that was one scene. Now, I have no real problem with the concept of a show about heaven and hell. If they're gonna be as weirdly complex and convoluted as Hazbin's lore is, and they don't really tread on actual religions, then it's fine. But yeah, as soon as you start using very famous Bible characters and real historical people and just change them, it's certainly really weird.
Especially the biggest one for me is the Adam and Eve story, because it's like so iconically known, but it's also one that's used so often to pin the blame on women and put women down. And that's something that growing up I was like, that's really and so in the show we will get a little bit more into that, and we'll kind of explore it in a more, again, more female gaze way, and in a little bit more of a critical way, but in a fictionalized way as well.
What? Eve got tricked by the literal devil. I've ruined relationships for less. I don't know, or I haven't seen anyone, even online, who uses the creation story as a means to attack women. Viv probably has, and that's fair, but it's pretty disingenuous to say that this is the moral of the fall story. And the changes to Adam, regardless of religious belief or whatever, it's just kind of odd. This whole Lilith thing, we're doing Bible AUs in the Big 26, really? Strictly separate from my religious beliefs, changing stories that are really sacred to people to serve your very unflattering portrayal of them is gonna make people actually think about your show's logic and context to these characters. Like, with no original sin, why was Adam being so weird with Lilith? Why was Adam even allowed in heaven? Why are people so painfully and sickly white in this show?
I'm hoping that my show being as loud and annoyingly like itself and kind of cringe, but like in a way that like it deserves to be, I guess. I'm hoping that helps encourage people to be as their cringeest self, because that's like the real you know?
So the show prides itself on just being itself and embracing the cringe culture. My comments say the same thing. I'm sorry, but the hyperactive, hyper-vulgar, hyper-violent, hyper-everything, it's just not for me. And it's a show that, in my opinion, begs to be scrutinized by not really building up enough goodwill with its divisive setting and style for it to make up for its story problems.
Our unholy trinity could make their realm our own.
Where'd you get that one, Hazbin?
So you must bear the cross.
We're trolling now. Okay? Okay. Let's get to talking about the actual show. Vox is just by far just the best. He was like a top 3 character in season 1, and it's not even close in season 2. He's funnier. His songs are just like objectively the good ones. He's smart. He's like really smart. He's not immune to sucking, though.
I'm not kidding. Get the quiet out of my building. Get the quiet.
Now, it's pretty contrived that Vox is only really able to be so powerful in the end because Lucifer can't hurt sinners. For some reason, yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
You see, it isn't just a place, it's a punishment. And mine is that I'm stuck here with all these sinners, can't kill them, can't do nothing with them.
Yeah, it's punishment for these guys too. They're still murking each other all the time. So the angels made it so you can't hurt sinners, but you can still totally hurt the angels.
They didn't banish you. They clipped your wings and chained you down here.
Are they talking about the writers? It's also very convenient that these mega-brained philosophers thought it would be a genius idea to go down there and apologize with gift baskets right when all of this is going down. But I can't double dip my criticism, okay? It's very smart of Vox to use angel dust as a spy. It helps build up Vox. It helps contribute to angel dust feeling completely powerless. It wasn't coordinated or hinted to at all the entire show, but who cares? Good on him for taking charge of the situation. Paired with the music, the show makes it pretty believable that Hell would rally behind this guy. It's smart he builds the big angelic cannon thing. It would probably like blow up or something if the angels try to destroy it, and it gives Vox a way to be an actual threat. How are you getting up there though? Like, you want to rule it and all. How are you getting up there? He gets so much focus for setting him up as the final villain that they take away from other major characters and like the concept of the show. I don't even care, okay? It's season 2, baby. I mean, it could end on a cliffhanger where Vox wins. I don't know. I don't know which way it's gonna go. Vox captures Lucifer in a really clever way. The weapon works like really well. And because Heaven's reluctant to start another war, he's kind of a big threat. He goes completely insane, is willing to blow up like all of hell and kill everyone just to nay on Alistair for rage baiting, and gets his head ripped off by someone who's on the level of Jeffrey Epstein, who's also his best friend. It's kind of insulting to have your big bad of the season go mad out of nowhere and get team killed. How did he become so powerful? Like, he wasn't a weakling before. He could kind of go like toe-to-toe with injured Alistair, but he just becomes more powerful because people like him. He's the most influential. He's the most powerful sinner in hell because Charlie says so. Do you see how this is just kind of confusing and ridiculous? It's a lot of things, but most certainly it's unsatisfying. I'm not satisfied that the main villain is defeated by the second main villain, who then joins in with the main characters while singing a friendship song. I'm not satisfied they devote so many songs in screen time to setting up a character that just gets set back to square one with no consequences. It's kind of an insult to the audience. But Vivzy likes Vox, so she needs him to survive this, which apparently he just can, and it wasn't the real Vox, so yeah, it's just him overreacting. He immediately goes back to status quo, guys. When the writers treat the characters like action figures for them to reuse, you break and contort your show's naturally flowing story to try and save certain characters for later. He gets the most screen time, builds up his power fairly naturally from episode to episode, and loses like this. I think that's bad storytelling. I also find it very hard to believe that the god of this universe would just like let all of heaven be conquered by a television. Okay, so Vivzi made a pretty unsatisfying ending, but at least we're not babyifying characters because they're her favorites. The stupid Shud said while recording his Hazbin Hotel video. You thought I was overreacting before? This show made the literal devil in Uwu Smallbean. I swear he wasn't like this in season 1. He was weird, he was a hermit, he was a loser, but he wasn't, like, stupid. A quirky, trying too hard dad. Where have I seen that one before? But Lou is Vivzi's favorite. He's so silly and cute.
Hey! It's you! It's Charlie's girlfriend!
Dude, you've seen her multiple times. You just had a full conversation with her days prior. In Hazbin Hotel, the devil isn't a bad guy. He's just misunderstood. He didn't mean to bring evil to the world, but he's also a cool Sigma demon. Lou? Isn't that adorable? Lou? Maybe they realized that the guy who basically single-handedly saved the entire hotel from defeat in the first season with no effort, maybe might be a teensy bit overpowered, so they lobotomized him. Fraud alert. Somebody start making the Vigil AI videos. Buddy, are you okay? Can you swim unsupervised? I don't like to claim I can write better than professional writers because you listen to me talk. But I feel like there's genuine tragedy to this character that isn't tapped into at all. Like he just wanted to give freedom, brought evil, and is now trapped with the outcome of his doing for all of eternity, surrounded by sinners he actively dislikes. I appreciated the aspect of Lucifer last season that argued against the hotel because he just didn't like the sinners and thought that they'd never want to change. But that ended pretty quick. Like Lilith is teased and teased to be something so important, but her husband, the devil, can't do anything real. He has to be treated like frickin' Abel. Why are all the characters in this show so white? His character solely exists to be the wacky comic relief who beefs with Alistair and is the overcompensating dad, which A, I've played these games before, and B, this guy is the devil. Okay, so Vivzi has her favorites. I have to ask, does she even like Charlie?
Because I deeply care about my female characters, but I treat them in a way where I'm not just going to shove them to the front because they're the only females in the cast.
Is that a joke? I can appreciate making your female characters flawed, normal people. But Charlie is too flawed. She's too stupid. She certainly isn't the brightest bulb in the world. Her redemption activities in season 1 were like childish games and literally had nothing to do with how Pentious actually got redeemed. He died and went to heaven because he loved Cherry, which he did that before he even went to the hotel. But in season 2, she's ridiculous. I cannot for the life of me understand why current Charlie is still identical to Pilot Charlie from 2019, but just way more stupid. I can accept a character being flawed. Like I said, Charlie can make mistakes, but this is just too many mistakes. Charlie finds out that the hotel works in a pretty funny manner, and now becomes obsessed with VoxTech lying about the hotel in the most obvious manner possible. Charlie, for some reason then, thinks inviting over a VoxTech reporter to show that the hotel actually works would work. Like, they wouldn't just stop purposefully lying about her. And then when the two people who show up are friend A and B of the dude who is abusing your best friend, she has no problem with allowing them to completely embarrass her, the hotel, and all of her friends, even after Angel Dust expresses his discomfort with the best friends of his sexually abusive, evil boss using Charlie for clicks. This is a level of idiocy I cannot simply stand for. I cannot agree with this, even if it's her arc. Whenever Vaggi is like, Charlie, this is obviously not gonna work, she just doesn't listen to her at all. Is that all Vaggi does this season? No. She wants to change her name. Oh, okay. Now she knows VoxTech is no good. So then she goes on their news channel because she thinks she can't misconstrue her words live. I liked it better in the pilot. Charlie is so insanely disrespectful to everybody she knows, it just makes her hard to like. And then she cries and cries and just cries, and Vaggi sings this song.
Shut up, you know that I love you.
Did I mention how sauceless this relationship is? Vaggi, would you like to do anything else besides being Charlie's personal assistant? No? Okay, I just thought I'd ask. Listen, I can understand an arc of someone who tries so hard to convince someone something, even if they're just completely uninterested in changing. But Charlie's never convincing sinners. She just really wants to convince this girl. Go out on the streets, you stupid dupid. Knock on some doors. You rush your friend's character development, make him feel like a clown, and then he gets dunked on by Vox. Remember in season 1 when you learned not to interfere with your friends' lives so you can promote the hotel and rush their development? Remember in the pilot when you went on this exact same show and the girl just made fun of you? Why is Charlie able to get nothing done? Why is she not able to grow as a character? What did Charlie do for the hotel in season 1? Nothing. What about season 2? Nothing. But don't worry guys, she smiled at the secondary antagonists. Now, I very passively and inattentively watched Helluva Boss, and I kind of skipped the whole early chunk of this show, but I know enough to talk about this. I am, however, going to keep it very brief. I find a relationship, a sexual relationship, that is strictly transactional between like a hell 1%er and a working class, bottom of the barrel imp, so that he can do his job. I think that's really bad. I think it's equally bad that Vivzi then really started to like this relationship, which ended up tanking the entire trajectory of the borderline office parody episodic comedy show. All to just completely retcon that this relationship was transactional, completely unmutual, and insanely inappropriate. Now Stolas is a uwu small bean, can't do anything wrong, and we have to literally rewrite history where in the Amazon Prime pilot now, their relationship is just so completely different than how it was at the start of the show. Maybe we can throw in some more flashbacks just so that we can make this as revisionist as possible. History if it was written by the victors. Power imbalances? That's too many syllables. For a universe that admittedly has a lot of intentionally problematic content, it also has way too much unintentional problematic content, but I will talk about that more later on. Does the show know that it doesn't have to set things up if they have absolutely no intention of resolving it? Vaggi is a character who has a cool design, is pretty competent, which is a nice change of pace with the rest of the cast, but all she does is be Charlie's errand girl. What are her characteristics? The grumpy one? The only thing she does this season, besides yelling at Charlie, is wanting to change her name. Why? Ironically, to give herself more agency. Okay, cool, so what's the name change gonna be? We're trolling. Why even make the name change a thing? Like, you didn't have to do this. No one is making you do this. Were you afraid it was gonna mess up all the merch? You were just scared of making that big of a commitment? It's like they had the South Park schedule where they're just making each episode in 1 week and releasing it, and they just gave up and they didn't want to do it anymore. Watching this video, did you think about Baxter a single time? He's introduced as the new member of the hotel, is pretty amusing, does nothing, lore dumps, does nothing. That's it? He shows up at the end to just conveniently be on their side because Vaggi folds his blankets, and he can just magically do all the stuff that they need that's essential for their plan. Why are they so shameless with giving him nothing to do? I really hope you thought that blanket folding joke was hilarious because that's it. I really liked his relationship with Nifty. They're very entertaining in the finale. It just comes out of nowhere. Oh, sorry, they play patty cake in the background of a single shot. Okay, I missed that. That one's on me. Okay, I'll go take a lap. You don't have to give 6 songs to Vox. You know that, right? You can use that time to develop your new characters. These shows are strangely one-trick ponies. I don't know if it's just her taking from what she knows or it's subconscious or whatever, but I feel the show is unaware of the fact that they're spamming the same move over and over again. Either that or they think the more that they do it, the better. Charlie has daddy issues. Luna has daddy issues. Blitz has daddy issues. Moxie has daddy issues. Abel has daddy issues. Octavia has daddy issues. Angel Dust, in a massive reveal in season 2, is revealed to have daddy issues. Vivzi, what are you trying to tell us? This is objectively pretty ridiculous, and I don't understand how this happens. Either they really have no clue that they've used this trope so much, or they're really proud of it. There's also a lot of gay people in this show.
Waiter.
Sir?
Can I?
Of course.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
No. Wait.
And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with seeing LGBTQ representation in media, but I mean, this is a statistical improbability. I can't find it anywhere, but I swear I saw an official like Amazon Prime fun fact that Nifty was the only straight person in the hotel. It's gotta be like 95% of the characters. Like I said, I don't have a problem with seeing gay people in media. Representation is important. I'm a Catholic. I really like Daredevil and the new Knives Out movie because they paint Catholics in a really good light. It just feels good to be represented in the movies and media that you watch. But this is like if there was a show completely detached from religion where almost every character was Catholic and the fans of the show drew the non-Catholic characters doing confession and receiving the Eucharist. Like, come on, isn't it at least a little silly? Do you know how many characters slip into Spanish when they're angry? 3! 3 different characters speak Spanish randomly in the show. Like, Viv thought it was super cool and culture divert to have a character speak Spanish when angry, because it's like badass or something, and they pull the same trick 3 different times. The show makes fun of Vox for being racist and doing this.
Mi querida Carmilla.
Are you serious?
Yeah, okay.
But the show literally does the same guitar cue whenever Carmilla is on screen. If 99% of your characters fall into this Venn diagram, I think it's time to pack it up. The Kalshi bets on whether Vivzy Pops is gracias at Taco Bell, they're going crazy right now. These things really aren't problems with the show. I would never put too many gay people on a list of reasons why this show is bad, trust me. I just think it's really funny. It does make your show look pretty unserious though, like a one-trick pony. But the pony has daddy issues and is gay and speaks Spanish. The show is kind of about redemption, but not really. The activities that the characters do in Season 1 are ridiculous and childish and completely unserious. The characters who try to better themselves are solving their problems with violence. Then in Season 2, the hotel is completely taken out of the focus to give more attention to Vivzy's favorite characters. Like, there are some new residents in the hotel this season, and they literally get no focus and they make a joke about how they don't even know any of these characters.
Yeah, go deep.
Yeah, wait, who are you?
That's Rooster. He's been here the whole time. You know what? I'll introduce you later.
Isn't this the point of the show? The first season structure going immediately into this insane drama about war and heaven versus hell, it kind of ruined the rest of the show. Because now it feels like we don't have enough time in Season 2 to actually focus on redemption. It feels like that time was in the past even though it never existed. The characters that have strong morality, like Charlie and Heaven, are depicted as brainless apes who are blind and detached from the real world. Is it that much of a surprise then that there are really bad controversies in these shows that are genuinely problematic? I've already mentioned the Stolas Blitz thing, which is really rough, but to me, Angel Dust and Valentino, that stuff, it's just so morally wrong. Angel is owned by Valentino, abused by him, and is forced to film very explicit adult films. And that is bad. So why are we representing this through a catchy pop song? Why are we treating an abuser like a cute, brainless ooh bean? Like, this is really bad.
When have I ever hit him? You're obsessed with me.
Why are we treating that like a punchline? Why are people who ship these two people who have worked on the show before? There was this whole controversy where Vivzy was defending people enjoying villain characters and buying merch of them. But A, you're supposed to like villains because they're evil. The dude in Notre Dame was very bad, and people like that character because of how evil he was. You treat Valentino like a puppy. Your social media accounts are posting this, and that is no good. And B, if you own merch of Valentino, you're weird, and I've got to question what you like about him. Okay, so if you've made it this far and you're a fan of Hazbin, thank you. Here's some stuff I actually really like about the show. First of all, the animation for both of the shows is amazing. Helluva Boss specifically, it's kind of, insane how that's the YouTube show, but it looks so much nicer. Hazbin can look pretty choppy sometimes, but I do really like the art style of the show. Like I said, Vox is just the best character, and he's so entertaining. The show's cast and world is very iconic, and the character designs across the board are very strong, besides Alistair and these people. The songs in Season 2 are so shockingly good and such an improvement over the songs in Season 1. With Don't You Forget Reprise, Once We Get Up There, Clean It Up, and especially Vox Populi being incredible highlights. I really like Husk as a character. He's consistently very strong. He was my favorite in Season 1. I like Zach Hadel yelling. That's pretty funny. Everything with Alistair in the season was surprisingly great. I love his master plan, his pettiness with Lucifer, the reveal his soul is owned by Rosie of all people. I like the payoff from Season 1. I think it all comes together really nicely. He's still a fraud though. All of his power comes from deals, handshakes, and hell turns you white, apparently. I give up. I like that they didn't put Jesus in the show. I would do like a recap of everything and wrap it into a nice little conclusion, but you guys should just watch the video again. Read this book. It's good. Thank you guys so much for the support. I love you guys. God bless.